Hi! So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Mateo Chavez Lewis, and welcome to the channel. So a few weeks ago I posted a video ranking the best works of Stephen Sondheim, and you can check that video out right up here. So today we're going to be doing a similar kind of video, a ranking video, and today we're ranking the Tony Award winning best musicals from throughout history. So I'm pretty excited for this. I'm super psyched you decided to join me today. Let's dive right in. So, this is how this works. We've got the S tier, which are like the supreme tier, they're the best tier. They're these musicals that blew my mind, changed my life. Then we've got the A tier, those are really good musicals. Then we've got the B tier, which, keep in mind, is the B tier of Tony Award winning best musicals, so we're still dealing with some pretty good stuff here. So, like, I don't want anyone to freak out and be like, oh my god, how did you put that in B tier? It's a good musical. Yeah, of course it's a good musical. Like, I know all of these musicals are good. It's about which ones are the best. And specifically, which ones are my personal favorites. And then I've got a tier here for shows I don't know well enough to rank. Alrighty, let's dive right in. I have no idea what order these are in. They're not in, like, alphabetical order. They're not in order of, like, most recent or anything. So I think we'll just start at the top and work our way down. Alright, Fun Home. I saw this on Broadway when it had just opened and the original cast was still there. I saw a bunch of understudies, which it was one of those experiences where you open the playbill and you look and you're bummed at first to see that there are understudies on because, you know, you're really excited to see Michael Cerveris, who won the Tony for the role. But then the understudies are also amazing and you're still blown away by the show and the emotional power of it. So Fun Home, that's an S tier one for me. That is an incredible musical. Groundbreaking in its storytelling format. It was performed in the Round, in the Circle, and the Square Theater, which is really cool. A really great show. Also the first musical to win Best Musical that was written entirely by women, but somebody fact check me on that. Here we have, I have no idea what this is. Here we have My Fair Lady. This was a good musical. I think it's kind of aged poorly. Just some of the attitudes it has towards like women and people of lower class are a little bit derogatory, and today I think we know better as a society. They tried in a recent revival with Laura Benanti to kind of fix some of the problems, but a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful score though. Written by Lerner and Loewe, the writing duo who also wrote Camelot and Brigadoon, which is one of my favorite musicals. So My Fair Lady, that is going A tier for me. Great show. The misogyny brings it down a bit. Billy Elliot, see, I'm not a huge fan of dance shows, possibly just because I'm not a dancer and it makes me feel bad about myself, but this is an A tier for me, not an S tier. Hello Dolly, nobody hates Hello Dolly, that's gonna be an A tier as well. Fiddler on the Roof, I find the thing with Fiddler on the Roof is that I wish it wasn't so long, and maybe this is my bias as a child of the contemporary age where we're all about instant gratification and short attention spans and everything. But I don't know, I personally find Fiddler drags a bit, but there are some really great tunes in it, and it has an amazingly beautiful message. And I mean, the representation of like that community was kind of never seen on Broadway before or since, so that's gonna be an A tier. Man of La Mancha, so here's the thing, I'm Latino, my family's from Chile, so I can't hate anything that involves Don Quixote. Man of La Mancha for me can be confusing. There are some absolutely incredible songs in it. I mean, Impossible Dream is obviously one of the best songs of all time, but I also really love the song Aldonza. So Man of La Mancha is also A tier for me. Cabaret, oh my goodness, what a great show. I'm putting that in the S tier. It's extremely relevant right now, I think, because it's all about the MC trying to entertain the audience so that they don't see the horrible things that are happening right in front of their eyes. And I think in today's political landscape, I think we all have a lot to learn from that story. So that is going in the S tier for sure. Annie, listen, nobody kill me, but I'm really sorry. I'm gonna put Annie in the B tier. Of the, like, little kid musicals, it's not my favorite. It can get a little bit annoying, I'm sorry. And this one too, Evita, I find sometimes the score can get a little bit screechy and you don't really understand what's going on because they're all just yelling so fortissimo all the time. That's kind of how I feel about Evita. Never been one of my favorites. So that's going in the B tier as well, unfortunately. Rent, okay, listen, anybody who knows me knows I'm a big Jonathan Larson fan. I wish that Jonathan Larson had lived to finish Rent because he famously died right before it opened off Broadway. So he didn't get to write and rewrite it as much as he deserved to. There are some, plot holes and timeline confusingnesses in the show, but overall, like a really emotional gut punch of a musical that definitely belongs in the S tier. Producers is hilarious, obviously. Personally, I prefer musicals that are a little bit more emotional and life-affirming. That's just me. That's why I'm putting it in the A tier over the S tier. South Pacific. South Pacific is one I actually don't know very well out of Rodgers and Hammerstein's body of work, but the songs I know from it are some of my favorite songs by Rodgers and Hammerstein. And I mean, we're talking about the songwriters who wrote Sound of Music and Oklahoma, which revolutionized the musical theater. So clearly they know what they're doing. I don't know if I can confidently put South Pacific in the S tier, just because I want to keep that S tier very exclusive for just my favorites, and I don't know it well enough, so it's going in the A tier. Spring Awakening. So Spring Awakening was based on a German play from I think the 1800s. And what they did, which was super weird and cool, is that they took this play from the 1800s, almost word for word, and then they just inserted a bunch of like hard rock musical numbers, and for some reason it totally works, because even though the time period is totally different, the feeling of rebellion that these teenagers are feeling is the same, and so the show really works. And so Spring Awakening is going to go in the S tier. Sound of Music, listen, I can't put Sound of Music anywhere but the S tier. This musical was one of my favorite musicals as a kid. Like, the movie of Sound of Music with Julie Andrews is one of the things that made me really, really love musicals. Definitely an S tier. Bye Bye Birdie. This show, oh my god. There are shows that I feel bad putting in the B tier, but Bye Bye Birdie, honestly, like, fight me if you want in the comment section, but Bye Bye Birdie I just can't stand, to be honest. It's so annoying. It's got such a simplistic and backwards view of gender. It manages to be like sexist and racist in the same musical, but also like I don't even care about that. I can forgive that because it's so long ago that nobody really knew any better. But it's also just annoying. Like, the songs are really... Anyways, I've gone on long enough. I don't like doing rants about things I don't like on this channel. I like the positivity. We all need a little bit more positivity in our lives. Bye Bye Birdie is in the B tier for me. And if anybody really wants to hear me rant about Bye Bye Birdie for an hour, I can do it. Just call me up and we'll go for coffee and I'll talk to you. How to succeed in business without really trying. Listen, this could go the way of Bye Bye Birdie and be really, really annoying, but I think that it is more effectively satirical than Bye Bye Birdie is. Bye Bye Birdie, I don't know if they were trying to be satirical, but it doesn't read as satire to me. Whereas How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying is like satire to a T, and it's brilliant. And it really applies to our current capitalist society. So even though this is also a little bit old-fashioned with its views on gender and stuff, I can forgive it because it's good satire, and so this is gonna go right up here in the A tier. Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum. Brilliant comedy, hilarious, written by Stephen Sondheim. His first Broadway musical where he wrote music and lyrics. That's an S tier. What is this? Hallelujah Baby. Well, don't know it. 1776, don't know it. I've heard good things about 1776 though. Applause, I don't know it. Company is probably my favorite musical of all time. S tier, baby. Big time. Two Gentlemen of Verona, don't know it. A Little Night Music. If you watch my Sondheim video, I think I linked to it before, but there will also be a link in the description. And if you watch that video, you'll know I don't love A Little Night Music, so I'm gonna put that in the B tier. Kiss Me Kate, another one that's like annoying in its gender roles. And while some of the Cole Porter songs are like clever and funny and catchy, and I love the song So in Love, I don't think it's Cole Porter's best work. I personally am partial to Anything Goes if I'm gonna get some Cole Porter. So I'm gonna put Kiss Me Kate in the B tier as well, don't kill me. Fiorello, don't know it. What is this? Ralan? I don't know what that says. I think it says, it looks like Ralan. Oh, it's Raisin in the Sun. I actually don't know the musical of Raisin in the Sun very well, but it is a great play. The Wiz, awesome. Can't dislike The Wiz. Super fun. Chorus line, okay. Maybe it's just because I have bad memories of a production of this I was in high school, but I've never really been a huge fan of Chorus Line. And maybe also it's because, like I said before, I'm not a huge fan of the dance musicals because they intimidate me because I'm bad at dancing. I mean, it's objectively groundbreaking and brilliant, but it's not really my cup of tea. So instead of putting it in the S tier, I'm going to put it in the A tier. Even though I know there's a good argument to be made for that being an S tier. Ain't Misbehavin', don't know it. Sweeney Todd, great musical. Really delves into the dark depths of the human psyche. Brilliant musical, S tier for sure. 42nd Street, lots of fun. I'll give it an A. 9 is a musical about an Italian filmmaker and his relationships with all the women in his life. I find Maury Yeston's scores in general to be a little bit muddy, is the word, maybe? Like, it just feels like there's a lot of, like, crunchy chords for, I don't want to say no good reason, but it kind of makes it hard to follow what's going on. I've seen it a couple times, and I've always had a really hard time following the plot, so I'm going to put that in a B tier. I'm not a huge fan of it. Cats is famously spectacular and famously frivolous. I'm going to put it in the A tier because it's so much fun and it's so impressive to watch. And it was so kind of groundbreaking at the time, honestly, with the kind of costume design and spectacle that they were able to do on a stage. Like, it ran for a trillion, cajillion years for a reason. La Cage aux Folles, I Am What I Am. This is a great musical about the queer lifestyle before it was really talked about in the mainstream media. Groundbreaking, really well written, brilliant show, S tier. Big River, don't know it. Guys and Dolls, a ton of fun. Again with the satirical old-fashioned gender roles. They really make fun of male masculine roles and female feminine women's roles with songs like Marry the Man Today and obviously Guys and Dolls, the title song. And also like everything that all the characters do is a satire on gender. So I love this one. That's an S tier. Lion King. The Lion King was the first musical I ever saw live, and it is why I am here doing this right now. That is an S tier if I ever did see one. I think this is, I can't tell, I think this is The Mystery of Edwin Drood, in which case that's a very entertaining show. I will give that an A tier, no problem. Les Miserables, listen, like, you can't dislike Les Miserables. It's brilliant. It's huge, it's dramatic. It's a little bit too much for some people, but it's so emotional and powerful that, like, I can't help but put it in the S tier. Some beautiful music in that. Simple music, actually. Big fortissimos and orchestral scores, but the actual music itself is based on pretty simple chord progressions, like, it's just a descending bass line. It's just a descending bass line, that's all it is. And yet there's something so powerful about it. Simple but powerful writing. That's my cup of tea. Speaking of simple and powerful writing, that is what the Phantom of the Opera is not. Listen, Phantom of the Opera, there's some really beautiful songs in it. All I ask of you is undeniably a beautiful song. Music of the Night is undeniably a beautiful song. We all love the spectacle of it. We all love the smoke in the gondola. And we all love Christine singing that ridiculously high soprano note at the end of the title song. But listen, simple and clear storytelling, this is not. The heart of the story, I think, gets lost in Andrew Lloyd Webber's tendency to do so much with the music. And if that kind of thing is your cup of tea, I get why Phantom is your favorite show. That makes sense. A lot of people, Phantom is their favorite musical, and that makes sense to me. It's spectacular, it's powerful, it's dramatic, but for me, I really like a clear, simple, elegant story that's like really well crafted and truthful, and I just don't get that from Phantom, unfortunately. So that's gonna be, you know what, I'll put it in the A tier because I do love Christine's high notes. Jerome Robbins Broadway, okay, like it's a review show, that's fine. I don't really know anything about it. City of Angels, I don't actually know it well enough, but the stuff I've heard from it is pretty brilliant. I'm gonna still put it in the don't know tier, but based on what I know, it deserves a high spot on this list. The Follies, again, it's a review show. Put it in the don't know tier. Crazy for You. Crazy for You is so fun. They took a bunch of the biggest hits of the Gershwin brothers, and they wrote a new original storyline kind of based on the formula for the Gershwin musicals from like the 1920s and 30s, and it is genuinely one of the funniest things I've ever seen on a stage. It's brilliant. I'm actually gonna put Crazy for You in the S tier. I don't know. Maybe that's crazy. Kiss of the Spider Woman. I actually don't know it well enough, I don't think. I really hesitate not to put this up high on the list, but I don't actually know it that well. Like, I've never seen it, so it's gonna go in the don't know tier. Passion, again, if you watch my Sondheim video, link in the description. Passion is one of the ones I love. That's an A tier for me. Sunset Boulevard, I know the movie, but I think the Broadway version is very, very different, and I don't know the Broadway version, so I'm gonna put that in the don't know tier as well. The King and I, this is also not one of my favorite Rodgers and Hammersteins. The King and I is about an American woman who falls in love with the King of Siam. Some really great songs in it. I mean, it's Rodgers and Hammerstein, so of course there's great songs in it. I don't actually, like, I've never seen it, so I actually think I'm gonna put this one in the don't know tier as well, unfortunately. Titanic, listen, maybe it's just because I had to sing There She Is from Titanic, which is a big ensemble number, as a solo in my first year of high school, and it's the whole ensemble singing these big long lines. There she is, towering high, something like that. And then the assignment that we were given was to do our song as a monologue. So you can picture me at 13 years old standing up there and going, there she is. Tao, ring, high. So I'm scarred. Titanic, not my favorite. That's a B. Fosse, again, it's a review show. Contact, I think, is also a review show. I don't know it. Thoroughly Modern Millie, lots of fun, a little racist, A tier. Hairspray, some great songs, but again, I like the movie more than the Broadway show. I think I'm still gonna put this in the A tier though, because the songs are so infectious. The new girl in town who just came on the scene. The new girl in town, hey look, she's wearing his ring. Oh boy, okay, just 2 rows left to go. Let's power through these. Avenue Q, I will forever be bitter that Avenue Q beat out one of my nearest, dearest to my heart musicals, Wicked, of course. They were up for the Tony in the same year, and Avenue Q won it. However, I will say Avenue Q is incredibly clever, incredibly well-written, and honestly, like, kind of groundbreaking in its structure and in the fact that it uses puppets on stage and in how vulgar it was willing to be on stage. So I'm actually going to put Avenue Q. I actually love Avenue Q, and I'm going to put it in the S tier. Sorry, Wicked. Spamalot, great show, hilarious. Monty Python is the best of the best, A tier. Jersey Boys, also, like, if you're going to do a biography show, and there have been a trillion of these trying to copy Jersey Boys' success, you know, we've got Beautiful the Carole King musical, we've got Ain't Too Proud, we've got a Michael Jackson musical coming out now, but Jersey Boys about Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, this is still the gold standard of the biographical musical. A tier for sure. In the Heights, oi, Lin-Manuel Miranda, he knows how to write a show. This is the first show that he got on Broadway. Before Hamilton, there was In the Heights. And it's about a Dominican bodega owner in Washington Heights of New York City and his community, and it is a really, really infectious, amazing, like Latin pop infused score. 10 out of 10, can't recommend enough. In the Heights, S tier. Memphis, I think, is a review show, but I don't know it very well, so I'm gonna put it in the don't know. It's a, This Is Wonderful Town. I also don't know that one very well. Okay, Book of Mormon. Book of Mormon, listen. Some people are offended by some of the stereotyping that goes on in Book of Mormon. I personally really love it. I think it is brilliant satire. I think everything that they include that is vulgar or offensive is there for a reason, to communicate a message. And I mean, this is also like me as a white guy talking about this. I don't really have the perspective to speak eloquently on how it affects the communities that it stereotypes. Although, to be fair, one of the communities that it really stereotypes the heck out of is white guys. But it's a really funny show, and it's about, at the heart of it, how religion, it's not about what religion we believe in or what we believe, it's just that we all have something to believe in together, which is a message that I think is really beautiful and really unique. So Book of Mormon, I'm sorry, I have to put this in the S tier, like I can't not. Once, also, beautiful show, S tier. As someone who plays an instrument, like, Once is very close to my heart as well. Great show, S tier. Kinky Boots, so much fun, so fierce, so awesome. Well-written songs by Cyndi Lauper, like Hold Me in Your Heart, the 11 o'clock number that Billy Porter sang, is like a masterpiece. I really love Kinky Boots. It's a really good example of how to write a pop score that is infused with pop music, but the reason that you're writing a score in pop music isn't to appeal to your audience, it's because that's how the characters would actually sing. That's how I feel about Kinky Boots. It doesn't sacrifice its storytelling, and it's still true to the characters, even though it's using this like really 80s pop musical vocabulary, it's still true to the characters. So I'm actually going to put Kinky Boots in the S tier. Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder, it's funny, but I struggle with the clarity on this one, like Phantom of the Opera, although for a completely different reason. Like, when I saw this, I had kind of a hard time figuring out what was going on. Because you have the, like, one guy who's changing costumes all the time. I don't know, not my favorite. I'll put it in the B tier, unfortunately. Hamilton, oh, ever heard of this show? S tier, boring. Oh my god, the tears are all filling up so much. I can't even. Okay, Dear Evan Hansen, anybody who knows me knows I'm going to put this in the S tier, also boring. Oops, that's the A tier, there we go. Band's Visit, oh, what a magical show. This is one of these shows that forces you to just slow down and watch it, which is something we don't do enough as a society, because we're all obsessed with our, like, Snapgram and our Twitter flick and whatever. But The Band's Visit is just an hour and a half of this mesmerizing human interaction, and there's not really any plot, there's not really any high-stakes conflict, it's just people living their lives and it is hauntingly beautiful. I'm actually going to put this in the S tier as well. Hadestown, a folk musical. I've actually done an analysis of one of my favorite songs from it, All I've Ever Known, with my friend Chrislyn Ancheta, so you can check that out up here if you want to hear more of my thoughts about Hadestown. It's a great show, and if you don't know it, I really recommend looking into it because it is beautiful. That is an S tier as well. Shlooms. I don't know what this is. I think that's just a logo. Kismet, I have never heard of that. Pajama Game! Pajama Game is one of my favorite scores from that era of Broadway, honestly. I really love the song Hey There. I want to analyze that at some point because it's a guy singing into a voice recorder, like an answering machine kind of, and then it plays his voice back and he sings a duet with himself. So it's kind of like loop pedals, like Ed Sheeran does, but like before there were loop pedals. Really cool. That's gonna be an A tier. Damn Yankees. I know only bits and pieces of it. I actually don't think I know it well enough. I know Heart, obviously, because everyone knows that song. I know Whatever Lola Wants, and I think both of them are certifiable bangers, but I don't think I know any other song from the show. The Music Man, currently playing on Broadway with Hugh Jackman and Sutton Foster in a much anticipated revival. I think I'm going to put this in the A tier. I think I am. There's some really clever stuff in here. Guys and Dolls, I think this is a duplicate. I think we've already had Guys and Dolls. Where did I put it? Yeah, Guys and Dolls is a duplicate, so there you go. And the last one is Redhead, which I have never heard of. So that is going in the Don't Know tier. And there you have it. That's it. Those are the Tony Award winning best musicals. Now, I mean, obviously, this is all just my opinion. And I've tried to do a good job of clarifying that. You know, specifying with things like Phantom of the Opera that I'm only ranking them a little bit lower because I prefer musicals that are clearer and musicals that are more pared down. Mind you, I also love Wicked, but I feel like Wicked has a really clear storyline in it, more so than Phantom of the Opera. Feel free to debate me on this in the comments, by the way. I'm not pretending like I am the be-all, end-all in my in my opinions of musical theater, because I'm not that. I am some guy with a camera. But hey, thank you for spending this time with this guy with a camera. I really appreciate it. And if you liked hanging out with me today, you can subscribe to the channel, because you can hang out with me every single Saturday. I've got new videos once a week. And you can also donate to my Patreon at the link in the description, which would be super appreciated. Everyone who donates even as little as $5 gets access to a bunch of behind-the-scenes content, early access to all my YouTube videos, and plus you help me upgrade my equipment, which, like, would be blessed. So hey, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for spending this time with me. I super appreciate it from the bottom of my little musical theater geek heart. And I will see you next week. Get out of here.